everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan here with the Rocks and Stocks News website. Today I have Tim Froud from Sokoman Minerals, which is one of our sponsors of the website. And Sokoman has actually a very exciting group of projects. Their main project is the Moosehead project. And they had some excellent news out recently, just a few days ago, that I wanted to talk with Tim about. And so thank you very much for joining us, Tim.
Yes, and actually this time from the field, Alan. So forgive me, I don't have my my formal attire on, but this is typical bushwear for South Central Newfoundland. But glad to be here with you again, sir.
Well, I always like to see our CEOs out there doing the work of getting that truth machine working.
Look, I got hat head going on, so there you go.
So you're really out in the field.
I am.
Okay, Tim, let's get started with, I'm going to share the screen here. Just give me a second, Tim. Make sure I'm on the right one. There we go. Okay, so Sokoman's barge drilling program delivers strong gold results at Moosehead Project, Central Newfoundland. Multiple intercepts, including 3.1 meters of 100 grams. You know, I hear a lot of people talk about these gram meter kind of intersections. I kind of do the old kind of math. I multiply what that's worth in dollar value, and then I look at it, is that mining width? So if you've got a high dollar value and a mining width, you're in good shape. But for those that like those gram meters, that's 300 gram meters.
That's an easy one, Alan. It's a nice round number. It's 100 by 3. So yeah, but what is it worth in dollars? I never actually sat down and.
Well, you're looking at about 3 and a bit ounces. So at today's dollars, that's 40 some hundred or over $5,000 a ton.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. Well, and you know, Tim, the difference is it's not one of these over 0.25 of a meter, because that can cause you some mining problems. But then you also had other holes there for 5 meters of 56 grams, which included that 100 gram intersection, 4.75 of 20 grams. 9.6 of 7.33 grams. So some nice looking stuff. Let's talk about it, Tim.
Yeah, well, these are all holes from the barge program, Alan, that we clued up just before Christmas. I think, in fact, hole 346 was actually the very last hole we drilled prior to the Christmas break, and you know, we knew we had some pretty special values coming out of those holes, so we decided to super rush those to have them ready for our inaugural press release for 2022. And yeah, it was a great way to start.
Well,
19 holes.
You guys shared a picture of you smiling quite widely with that drill core on Twitter. So, by the way, go to Sokoman Minerals Twitter and scroll down, and you'll see that core. And I mentioned that. No wonder you were smiling so much.
Yeah, I know, it's nice when a plan comes together. You know, we've been touting this area, this barge-based program for some time, and it's still going to be a very important component moving forward. We feel we've got significant room to grow that area. I know there's a big hole in our mineralized shell that has very few holes. Some of what we've reported in the last news release, Alan, I should caution, is our infill holes, but that's fine, because I mean, we've got big gaps in data within our mineralized shell that these holes are filling in nicely, instead of just putting in an area of 3 meters of half a gram, I think is what our mineralized shell encompasses. I'd rather plug in 5 meters of 56 grams. So
well, yeah,
it's nice to replace.
one of the things that I'm always harping on with people is about continuity of high grade. If you have little blips here and there, that doesn't really make a mine. It's these long, continuous intersections. So even if you had gaps and you fill it in, that answers the question about continuity.
Well, exactly, and I think it's a very good point. And thank you for bringing it up. In fact, the section that we included with this press release, it shows just that, Alan. If you wouldn't mind scrolling down to that section, you'll see, and this is the northernmost section that we've drilled from the barge to date. There we go. Nicely done. Thank you very much. And you'll see where most of those intersections are filling in. We're starting now to hang a pretty good picture here, I think. We've looked at including hole 63, 8 grams of 5 meters. We've got hole 343. Now you will get weaker areas within these things, of course, because it isn't a solid gold vein. I mean, these veins are nuggety. You're going to get 50 grams, and you're going to get 5 grams, and you're going to get 2 grams. So people have to understand that. But what's important here is that we're now starting to develop in a very important area of our deposit, some significant strike and depth potential here with very good grades. As you mentioned, 20 grams, 20.75 grams over 4.75 meters. They're in the middle part of that section. You'll see the red ellipses there are holes that are mentioned in our press release, which fill in a very big gap, as you can see there, almost 75 meters with no drilling in the upper eastern trend. That if you follow that down, you'll see holes like hole 62, in fact, down towards the bottom, 33 grams over 4.8 meters. Hole 191, 22 grams over 3.6. I won't read them all, but what I want to leave you with on this is here's the very bottom hole, 21-200, that has 10.26 grams over 3.8 meters and open to depth. I mean, this is, this will get drilling. And as you see, also in this section, you'll see proposed drill holes from the barge. Those blue lines, those are holes that we intend to drill from the ice. If we get enough ice this winter, we do have permits. I wanted to mention that to your followers, that we do have a winter program permitted should from the ice to replace the barge, because as I mentioned in our pre-discussion, the barge is not in the pond anymore. Well, you can't really move a barge around when it's locked in ice. So it's on the shore pond, and we'll be returning to the water as soon as it can, as early as it can in the spring. But in case we were able to get a winter program on the ice, we do have that permit in hand. And you see some of the holes that will be proposed. This is a very, very strong section for us. And again, I'll mention that it is the northernmost section from the barge to date. So we're just going to continue to march north. We also have a gap. If you look at that inset map, you'll see at the very bottom of the pond, there's 1 or 2 holes that are from shore, but they missed the plunge. So that's another area there that we hope to get on with the, there you go. Thank you very much. And of course, between there and hole 298, which was also in our press release. Let me see, what did we get in that? That was 8.4 meters of, I think, 3.35 grams. So again, we're in the system. Not really high grade, but again, we could be just centimeters from some pretty significant mineralization. So
and that's
you take the low with the high. I mean, that's just the way these systems are. That's
the nature. But you've got, so along there you've got strike potential to connect those two areas. I'm going to go back to the cross section, because I've said for a while now that as Sokoman figures out this system, that it's not, with those kind of grades, it's not going to take a lot of stepping down to have a lot of ounces there. And you can see a nice trend developing there. So your predictability's got to be going up as you drill more, right, Tim?
Oh, for sure. And as you see there, there's a cluster of older holes, and those would be the gray lines that you see at the bottom of the section. Those are holes that would be drilled from shore. And then you'll see that cluster of holes that include 343, 345, and 346 in the middle there. Those are holes that, were drilled from the barge. So, because there was a big gap between where we could actually drill it from shore and where we actually started drilling on the water, there's some huge gaps in this system that are, just again, I'll say the term low-hanging fruit that just needs to be confirmed with a drill hole. And this will all fill in very nicely. I think one of our best sections on the property. So very excited about moving forward. If you want to go back to the big map again, Allan, because one other thing we mentioned in the and before I forget it, in the press release was a recon hole that we drilled, hole 344. Scroll down,
Oh,
go
up
down a little
here,
bit more.
right where you're
no, right down at the. Yep, that's where that section is. But I want to just move down to the very bottom of the map, if we can.
Oh, there, 340.
Yeah, see that hole right there?
Right
that
here.
Hole 344. Yeah, that was one of those ones where we thought we had an idea, and we said, okay, well, let's wing a hole out towards to see if we can either pick up, a significant intersection or extension, sorry, of the eastern trend, or maybe something new in the meantime. And lo and behold, I think at a depth of, let me just check this. Yeah, 244 meters. We intersected a zone 5.25 meters wide of about 2 grams, which included a half a meter of 9.7 grams. So that is very significant because it's also 300 meters south of anything in the eastern trend. And we obviously don't have enough information to say it's either part of the 75 zone or just a significant step out from where we left the eastern trend. But regardless, I mean, this is something now that we've got to follow up.
Now, Tim,
I'm
the past holes are with these black dots here. And
yes.
If this is an extension of the 75 zone or the eastern zone, you quite likely missed, because that mineralization is along this line more, where you hit the
exactly, Allan. And you see the south pond there, and that green sort of volume there. Now that's much bigger now, thanks to what we've done. All those holes are very shallow, which is a great observation you just made, that these holes have nothing to do with what's in 344. So that's a new target. I mean,
can you see can you see my pointer, Tim?
Yes, I can.
And that's about where you hit the in 344, right?
Maybe just a little bit further to the west, but regardless, it's behind pretty well all the other drill holes that we've put in that area. So again, something to look forward to, and something that I think will deliver some significant results down the road. Like I said, Allan, we drill for structure first, and I've said this way back when. We drill for structure first, and if we get a structure that's got any gold on it, it has potential for high grade. And like I said, we've got 5 meters of just under 2 grams in hole 344, which includes half a meter of 9.7. Now,
okay, let's put that
most
into
parts of the world, that's high grade.
Tim, let's put that structure into context, because you're looking at an orogenic system here, and the Valentine Lake structure is one of these deep cracks in the earth that allow the fluids to come up. So, and then once they get close to surface, they start to have secondary structures, veins and other cross-cutting faults. And it's often those in an orogenic system that make the mines. That main crack is the main conduit, but then you get up into the broken up rock near surface, and it starts bleeding into those structures. So that's why it's so important. What Tim says is because you're in one of these deep cracks in the earth, you want to find those structures, and you want to find gold in them. And early days, you don't have to hit those monster holes, because oftentimes these orogenic systems, you got to go down a fair distance before you hit the jewelry boxes. So just knowing that you have a structure and it's got gold in it, it's game on.
Yeah, and right where your cursor is now, Alan, this is kind of a related story. Right there you see hole 273. We don't have assays for this yet, but it's part of what we call the 253 zone. We mentioned the 253 zone kind of late summer, early fall, that we had intersected significant veining, and the veins were quite nice, quite robust looking. Now the results we got back from them, we didn't see VG, which was interesting. We did see lots of sulfides, but we didn't see any VG, so we were kind of wondering what we were going to get, and we got, I think, forget exactly, I think it was a couple of grams over a couple of meters, but and we drilled a few holes around it, but it became clear after not getting what we were hoping to get there in terms of more veining, that there must be some sort of a change in the dip, or there's a fault or something in there. So we drilled, I think, 12 holes in total around there, and lo and behold, one of the last holes drilled, 273, and also the furthest hole to the west, did hit some VG in a zone about 150 meters down the hole. So we may now have kind of figured out exactly how to approach it a bit smarter. But regardless, it was clear that, and I don't know how well you can see that, but there's actually a stream that runs kind of north.
It looks like it looks like there's a cross fault there. And that's why you drilled from the north to the south. Is that correct, Tim?
It's funny you mention that, because yes, there is a structure and we do see it on the mag, but as well, you see that linear stream that extends to the southwest from 273. It goes down towards the bottom of the map there. You can see that dark line, that squiggly line. Yeah, that's a structure too, and maybe more important than we've realized to date. So that's an area as well that will be, obviously we still have to wait for some assays. In fact, most of the holes in that area are still pending assays. But again, here's something else. And potentially, here's a wild one for you. Is that intersection in 273 linked to the one in 344, way down at the bottom of the map? If that's the case,
moly.
Look at how many holes are in there. None.
Well, because that structure keeps on going.
Yeah, and it could actually splay a little bit off to the west. So you don't know. I mean, when you don't have any outcrop, you're kind of, you depend on your geophysics, obviously, and your drill holes that give you the best information. But, if 273 and 344 are linked, that's suddenly a whole new ball game there. That's half a kilometer.
And it's about 500 meters from the eastern trend, the 75 zone, yep. and almost 1,000 meters from South Pond.
Well, it's a good ways for sure, but like I said, so I mean, if people think that this
oh, sorry, I was off on the table. It's 200 meters per square.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for people who think that this project is dried up and all that sort of stuff, far from it. We've got lots of exciting things to look forward to moving forward on this project, and of course, obviously, the barge thing will be, sort of our one of our big newsmakers going forward, as well as the 75 zone, which is creeping north towards the eastern trend, and in all likelihood is one zone. So that would make things very nice and easy for us.
Here down to 75.
Yep. Yes,
wow.
Exactly.
So you've got a lot of you've got a lot of strike open there, and that's often in these orogenic systems indicative of the depth potential. If you got 600-800 meters, oftentimes that suggests a few thousand meters of depth potential.
Yeah, in our CSAMT survey we finished there just before Christmas should help us in that effect. Like everything is slow, so we're still waiting for some comments from the contractors on that. But again, that'll help us hopefully merge that with the drilling, maybe we can see structures that you know, would have those little jewelry boxes on it, like at the Swan Zone, or our footwall splay that we've got, you know, our very own little high grade gem. So yeah, lots to look forward to here. So
When
55,000 meters more to drill here. Yeah, so we're going to be busy and making news for some time, Alan.
so you hope to have that MT survey out by next few weeks, Tim?
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah, I mean, like, it's not just the labs. This whole business is blocked and slow. But you know, we take it one step at a time. We've got lots on our plate here, and of course, including our other projects, the Kraken.
Well,
Which
before we
put out
get
these,
into that, Tim, there was a couple of things I wanted to mention. Getting back to that, those deep orogenic systems, oftentimes it's those secondary faults that can be quite exciting. So now you've stepped over 500 meters or so, and it looks like you've got another feature there. And this MT survey, I don't know if the market gets too excited about it, but me, I'm looking, like you, I'm looking for those structures, because that's what leads you down to those jewelry boxes. So I'm very excited about this project, and I wanted to put it into context. You know, if you go a little easter to the east, you're seeing a lot of activity by companies such as Labrador Gold and Newfoundland Gold, and they're in the same kind of a setting. Deep cracks in the earth, orogenic systems, high-grade gold, and those companies are looking at valuations multiples of what you are. And so I think that there's a lot of blue sky potential just on the Moosehead discovery with these Eastern 75 South Pond 253 and the potential to find more. So I think that's a great Newfoundland gold exploration story, but that's not your only story. You're out there now. Let's transition and talk about what the heck you're doing out in a cabin now, Tim. I'm going to get off the share screen here.
Yeah, well, we announced last week that we had started drilling on the Kraken pegmatite system on the Golden Hope property that's joint ventured with Benton Resources. So
Tim,
I'm
is
the man
that a
on the job here.
50-50 deal?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
50-50. And so I'm the man on the spot here. I'm the guy looking at the core and stuff. And yeah, we had some nice core that we shared, I think. I hope it's up anyway. The internet doesn't work too well down here. But anyway, yeah, we were very pleased to see some very nice mineralization in the first hole.
Okay, let's step back a little bit first, Tim. And okay, I think it's clear to everybody that lithium is a hot commodity. In the last year, it's gone up over 400%. And that's based on supply and demand. Lots of demand. Every day we hear about new car manufacturers getting into electric vehicles. I keep asking myself, well, where are they going to get all that supply to feed that demand? And one of the key sources is the brine deposits in the Atacama Desert. They have their own issues. The next big source is these hard rock deposits, like they're finding that they have in Australia, and you've got that kind of potential in Canada. You guys found a project that, if my memory serves me correctly, has some quite a large area of outcrop, and you sampled anywhere from trace up to 2.37% lithium. So, you know, that's why you've got the truth machine in there now. And let's talk a little bit about the history and then what you're doing now.
Well, Golden Hope is still a gold-focused property, Alan. But the beauty of Newfoundland is even though it's got a significant and long history of mining, for some reason, exploration seems to have been given a miss in a lot of in a lot of this land. And Golden Hope was staked basically to cover two major faults, one of which emanates from the former Hope Brook gold mine, which produced just under 1 million ounces about 25 or 30 years ago, and is now actually getting new life breathed into it by, I think it's Big Ridge Mining, who have, I think, over 1 million ounces or about 1 million ounces in resources there, as well as a northern structure, which is a splay off of the main Cape Ray Valentine Lake fault, which hosts Valentine Lake to the north of us. We're not on that splay directly, but we are on a splay off of the Matador mining portion of it down in the southern part of the Cape Ray. And they've got some very nice numbers building there. In fact, I think they've got a resource of, 1 million plus ounces. Could be wrong a little bit, but
And growing.
Gold and a few million ounces of silver as well. It's a little silver in that one, which is kind of different for Newfoundland, but good. So it started out life as a gold project. And you know what? We're still an exploration company. So if we go out in the woods and we see something that catches our eye, we're going to sample it. And, some people, I'm shocked to see that some people just can't understand that if we make a discovery that we're supposed to be sorry for it. I don't get it. Anyway, some people,
maybe you should.
Some people shouldn't be allowed to buy. Some people shouldn't be allowed to buy shares or own them, for that matter. But anyway.
Well, just to put that into context, Tim, let's not forget that the great Newfoundland or in Labrador story was Diamond Fields Resources looking for diamonds, and their geologists were flying helicopters and they saw some rusty colored rock that became the Voisey's Bay discovery that was bought for $4 billion back in the 1990s. So, if you're out there, that's your job, is to look around and see if you can see anything that looks interesting. And you got some stuff that looks interesting there for the lithium side of things.
Yeah, and I mean, my part of my mandate is to maximize shareholder value. So, and that includes looking at other opportunities. So now we're still a gold company, Allan. Don't ever forget that. But at the same time, for a few weeks or months, if we can evaluate an opportunity that sits on our 100% owned claims, forgive me, but that's my job. So, you're right. And it is good grade. Some of our surface samples have been over 2%. We've extended the zone, up with, a combination of float and outcrop, about 2 kilometers in strike length. So, we're really hoping with this inaugural program to get a few hits and, put core in the box, because, this is something that we think could be of great value to our shareholders in terms of a potential spin out. That is probably the most favorable thing to do, but we'll look at whatever makes the most sense for our shareholders. And Tim, with that said,
Tim, don't ever be sorry about doing it that way, because I always bring back the example of my friend Andre Gumon that ran Virginia Gold. They found a mine in Quebec, and they sold it to Gold Corp. They then spun out all those assets. They had another discovery that got bought out. They spun out whatever was left into a new company, and that company got bought out. So 3 times from a group of projects, they had 3 successes. So, Tim, keep doing your job, because Andre did, and he delivered a lot of shareholder value.
He sure did. He did a great job. And yeah, I mean, if we could even, match that in some modest way, I'll be satisfied. And I hope, shareholders for their long suffering of our deflated share price, which still is a mystery to me and a lot of other people who are smarter than me. It is what it is. We'll just explore our way out of it. But and we've got the resources to do that. We still have we're probably just under 10 million now in the treasury, so we're starting the year fairly well. We didn't rush out and do an unnecessary financing at the end of 2021 just to get money in the bank, because our shares are cheap. So why
Well,
Why
back
don't do that
back
disservice?
in late or about mid 2021, we were talking about you having a lot of in the or potentially in the money warrants that you were hopeful to see increased valuation so that they would get exercised. So that's been a source of money for you guys as well, right?
Yeah, it brought in, I think, somewhere between 7 and 9 million to our treasury last year, warrant exercises. I mean, that's why you issue those things, to come back to you. There's no fees with those things. They're all hard dollars. In fact, our entire treasury right now is hard dollars. We don't
And
have a single flow through dollar.
how's it standing dollar wise in the treasury, Tim?
It's all hard. We have 100%
No, the
hard. So
amount. How much do you have in the treasury?
it's about 9.6 million right now.
Oh, wow. So you're well cashed up to keep poking holes at Moosehead, keep doing your lithium stuff, the whole works.
Now, obviously, to commit to some significant programs on our other projects, the treasury, will get stretched at some point. So it just depends on when you target the market in terms of, but obviously I want to see a higher share price. Of course I do. So, as we move forward into 2022, I think we can do that. And, but anyway, just getting back to the Kraken. Yeah, I mean, we still don't really fully understand what we have here because it's still early. These are the first holes, to be drilled in this system, and I think the first holes in history for a lithium-based project in Newfoundland. So we're breaking new ground here. So as with every initial drill program, you're going to have bumps and hiccups along the way. I hope we don't have too many, but if we can match, what we've gotten in the first hole with, most of what we plan to get done here. Now, the weather is a challenge, as I mentioned earlier, Alan, on our pre-conversation there. We're on a down day today. It's quite snowy and blustery out there now, which is why I'm kind of all bundled up. But so how many holes we get before we decide to, cut this initial program is largely going to be dependent on Mother Nature. And that's just as simple as it is. If we were a ground-based program, which ultimately, if we do get, some significant funding for a standalone lithium play, we'll probably look at getting a road, and then you won't have the issue of your helicopter can't fly today, sort of thing. So you just move around on the ground. But right now, just this small program, we're not even sure how many meters. It'll be 1,000, 2,000 meters, whatever. But we'll certainly give this thing an interesting test and see what we get out of it. There's already samples being rushed to the lab from hole 1, so we should have results. And I understand that, again, the assay labs, not just for gold, but for lithium, are kind of getting clogged up because a lot of people are looking at lithium these days. So there's been a lot of people sending samples to the lab. But the good news is that our local lab here, Eastern, are apparently putting in plans for a lithium circuit as well. So they'll be able to handle anything from here, which is good for us and any locals that are looking for lithium, and there are a few. But Kraken is early stage. It's a beautiful new discovery.
You guys shared some
yeah.
of your core, right, Tim? You had some good looking core there that you took some pictures of and shared, right?
Yes, and like I said, I'm kind of limited with my internet access, so I don't know if you had them on yours, but yeah, some beautiful crystals of
Where did
spodumene.
Was that in the news release, Tim, or was it on
No,
Twitter?
no. Yes, it was. Yeah, yeah. Probably your Twitter or Facebook account. Like I said, I'm really limited. I'm surprised you haven't lost me here in terms of signal, but
here, just give me a second, Tim. I'll have that core up, and there it is. Just give me a second here. I'm going to share my screen again, Tim.
Okay.
And just 1 second. There we go. Share. Boom. There you go. Tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah. Well, this we think what this is a mineral called holmquistite, and it's a lithium-bearing mineral that's often associated with more common minerals that you get lithium in, like spodumene, but more in the wall rock sort of thing. So this could expand actually the thickness of any, or apparent thickness of any. Steve, you can actually see in the piece of core that's sticking out of the tube there. Yeah, here again. Here's another one that shows it's identical to what we're seeing at surface, at least in the local area around the drill. And we know we've got some pretty decent grades out of that stuff. Basically, the spodumene crystals really stand out when you wet the core and see them, in actually a piece of drill core, which is, wow, here we are. Now, it's not just a surface sample anymore. Suddenly we got this stuff in the box. So this takes on a whole new meaning. And like I said, we don't know how many holes we're going to get in this phase. I think we've already demonstrated. Yeah, this is a great photo here. You see those needly type crystals in the core. Those are exactly the same mode and style of mineralization that we see in our surface samples. So obviously the lab will have the final say, but yeah, I think it's safe to say that we've now extended the Kraken pegmatites to depth, at least in hole 1, and hopefully in many other holes to come. Yeah, well, here you see more of that purpley mineral there. I don't know how well the colors show up, but that,
yeah, I can see it great
there.
Yeah,
they're very fibrous looking sheets of kind of like blades or needles of crystals, and from our understanding, that is holmquistite, as well as probably even some spodumene there as well. The really light colored patches are probably broken, broken spodumene crystals. So, but again, we'll see what the assays come back with, and yeah, we'll probably have to wait a few weeks. I guess that's par for the course, but yeah,
well,
a good start.
I'm kind of a fundamental kind of guy, Tim, and I always love those boots on the ground discoveries. But oftentimes in a boots on the ground discoveries it's difficult to match what you see at the surface with what you see in the truth machine. And it's very encouraging that, it's holding up as you get drilling. Now we still have to wait for the grade, but the rock you're seeing at surface, you're starting to see in the truth machine.
Yeah, for sure. And it's very comforting to see that. So again, I mean, we're learning here. I mean, we drilled this thing very quickly after discovery. We decided that instead of trenching, that we probably get more value and more impact from a small drill program. So, we'll be drilling here for a few more weeks, hopefully without too many more weather delays, and get a few more holes in the box, and yeah, just see what it means and
keep our fingers crossed.
Yes.
Well, I think that's a good note to close on. Tim, if you have any closing comments, I mean, one that I can see quite clearly is that you guys are going to have a lot of news flow, not just from Moosehead, but your regional exploration as well.
Yeah, well, thanks to the joint venture, we've got very strong program upcoming here at Kraken. Obviously, winter time is not the best time to be here, but we felt that with the market being the way it is, that it's important to get out and take advantage, of a hot market. So, it's a little bit of a struggle here, but I think it'll be worth it at the end of the day. Plus, we've got obviously 50,000 plus more meters to drill at Moosehead. Again, if we don't get the barge, if we don't get the ice to do a winter program, we'll still be drilling there with probably 3 rigs, maybe 4 if we can squeeze it in over the winter. The big program, of course, will be coming up in the summertime, as well as our fleur-de-lis project, where we should have final results from the last couple of batches in the next couple of weeks. Planning there for phase 2. Gray River, where we made, I'd call it another discovery. The first diamond drill holes in this 14-kilometer long quartz zone for gold. There were some drillings done in the 60s by the government for silica, but no assays for gold or anything. So, I qualify this as another discovery. So we seem to be getting quite good at first hole wonders. Moosehead, Gray River, Kraken. What's next?
Sounds like you guys know
Don't
what you're
mean to
doing,
brag.
Tim.
Yeah, it almost seems that way, doesn't it?
That's awesome, Tim. Well, keep it up and keep that news flowing and keep your boots to the ground geology. That's how things are found. And if you stumble across something, you might as well pay attention to it for a little while to figure out what the heck you got.
Very well said, Alan. And yeah, like I said, just stay tuned. I think time will bear us out as being worthy of the wait.
I agree. I've been watching this transpire for some time now, Tim, and I like what I see. You guys are doing great work. Let me close it off and we'll have a chat at the other end of things.
Okay,
How's
thanks,
that?
Alan.
Okay, so there you go, folks. Sokoman Minerals is obviously run by a good, led by Tim, who does that important exploration. He's shown how systematically doing it at Moosehead is paying dividends, and they're gaining a lot of information on how that whole system is working. And I believe as they do more work at Moosehead, they're going to really start to unlock that system. And these are exciting orogenic systems. They can have these jewelry boxes of deposits that are like the Swan Zone in Australia that really put Kirkland Lake on the map and made them a ton of money, and why they've been recently bought out. Moosehead's a great project, but as they're doing these regional exploration projects, they're getting a kick at the can of making new discoveries. It looks like this lithium project is, I think it's going to be a one that really surprises a lot of people. It's got a surface expression that looks quite interesting. And as you can see in those pictures now, the truth machine is showing that what they see at surface is continuing at depth. So I expect a great deal of news flow out of this company. They still have a modest valuation of $66 million. As always, my shows are for information purposes only, and it's important for you to speak with your financial advisors. And the most important thing is to do your homework. Go on their website, look at their news releases, look at their corporate presentations, go on their Twitter, because Sokoman is one of the best companies at sharing what they're seeing with core pictures. And I really appreciate that, because they're showing that they're doing the work and they're finding something in the core. So do your homework, check out Sokoman. And we'll keep doing these interviews because I love talking to Tim. Have a great day.